Hey, everybody. You wanted to say it, didn't you?
Well, I'll let her go first.
So,
I have manners. Go
I'm
ahead.
so
Go
sorry.
ahead.
It's Gretchen and Camille was starting over. Thank you so much for being with us. Now you go.
Hey, I'm Camille. Yeah. Well, obviously I'm Camille, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about what pain does to people, and people have emailed and sent some questions in to us about yeah, but you guys are talking about manifesting and starting over. But I go through this, but I go through that. And I have to acknowledge pain does change people. It is a chronic thing. If you have chronic pain or injury, physical injury limitation, you're just inside of yourself. You're not able to be externalized and kind of self-expressed. So 100% validate that pain does have a huge impact and it does change people. And once I think the trauma subsides and you're able to kind of sit and be with yourself, you could still manifest something different for yourself, how you're going to handle that pain. But I agree, pain does have a huge impact on people when they're going through it.
This is a perfect example. I just was speaking with somebody whose husband is undergoing treatment right now, and for cancer, and she was asking me about the nausea medicine that I was on. The day of chemo itself, it's not that bad because your IV is filled with a lot of medications that keep you from getting sick and that kind of stuff. It's the days afterwards. He's having a really hard time, and it's really difficult at times. I get it, y'all, to try to think positive when you don't feel good or when you're sad or when you're heartbroken. I understand that completely. That is something you have to train your body to do. You have to train your mind to somewhere find a thought that feels better. It's not taking it away.
No.
You can't jump from this emotion to this emotion.
But
you have to do it.
Baby step it.
And then once you feel that, and then a little bit more.
Little gradient.
A little bit more. I know that you've watched a movie or maybe a television show that all of a sudden you're so engrossed in it, you're not thinking about other things.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about is a mind shift.
Yeah. And I feel like with people that are having physical limitation, look, I mean, I've got some family members that were paralyzed a couple years back. And so to go from being an athlete and big person, big guy, to nothing, waist down, can't feel anything, that's like that whole area is your world. I mean, you have to, it's removal, waste removal, it's everything, it's pleasure. So when that goes out on a man, I feel like it's hard stuff. When a woman goes through the same thing, pelvic floor issues, that really does alter a person's world. And so from the waist down, you've got to sort out who you're going to be from the waist up. So I think life's on everybody, and I say it like that. So whatever we go through, though, when I sit down with someone after they've processed it for a little while, it's almost like, yeah, but it seems perfect. I needed that lesson for this or that. True, at the moment it's happening, we can't sit and process and say, oh, this will be good for you one day. You're going to get something thrown at you if you do that. But I do feel like pain does have a way of changing people. And I think it's by design. I think pain's supposed to help change people. Maybe for the better, actually.
Well, here's what I know from my experience.
Yeah.
At the time, you have just like with every day in our life, even starting over, you have a choice on how you want to feel about things. It's better to pre-plan how you want to feel about things now before things happen. What I mean by that is when I got the phone call that I had cancer, I immediately, when I hung up, I looked myself in the mirror and I just said, no, you are not going to be a person that is labeled cancer. You are whole and healthy, and whatever I have to do to make sure you get there is what we're going to do. But I had to make that choice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So while things are hard and while things are going in a direction that maybe it's not what you wanted or it's not what you expected or any of that kind of stuff, you still have the moment, you still have the times to start over and think your way through it.
Yeah.
You don't have to become a victim to whatever it is.
Yeah.
Even if it is sadness, even if it is death,
Yeah.
there are ways to feel better. It's called pivoting. It's not that you can jump what we were talking about, that emotion to this emotion, and all of a sudden you feel joy and you're like, yeah, it's all good. That may take time.
That will take time. Absolutely,
that may take time, Yeah. But here's what I do know is when you make that decision that you want to feel better, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, gives you more reasons to build on that hope.
I think so too.
You're not alone. You don't make a decision, you know what, I'm gonna start being more grateful, or I'm gonna start really listing the things that I am appreciative of. What I was saying though is, just always know you're never alone. And there are times that I know y'all have felt that where you could be at your saddest moment, you could be at your hardest trial, and yet you feel a sense that you're not alone.
I think that's actually true. I can't tell you how many clients, even myself included, when I've been at my most terrifying moments, or when they've had some sort of crippling injury or something that's scary happening, car wreck. I remember spinning in my little Honda Prelude when I was in California, and it was raining, and I was thinking, please, I just said, don't let me get hit, don't let me get hit. And I literally did not get hit. I spun 4 times, and I'm facing traffic on the 405. And it was a pouring rain. I can't believe nobody hit me or I didn't hit anybody else. I went across all 4 lanes. So it was incredible. But if I slowed that down in my mind, I can witness that. And I know that prayer was answered right there.
Going back to what you said, when life happens to us,
Yeah.
whether life it's a good thing or it's a thing that it's something
Challenges.
that what we learn from it is all determined on how we view it.
Yes.
Right? And so we know, and we all been through times when we're like, we become the victim of it. Why did this happen? I don't deserve this. I've been doing everything right. Why did this happen?
Yeah. And even betrayals.
Yeah.
Relationship breakdowns. Seeing your spouse in bed with somebody else, right? That's pretty traumatic, pretty shocking. That's painful,
That's
right?
painful.
Whether it's physical pain, it's mental, and it's spiritual. It's like a soul-crushing experience, yeah.
I just don't really believe in what makes sense to me is that you were forced to have this problem so that you will make a change. That change is going to happen if we decide to let it happen, right? We all know that people can be stuck in a situation where things don't change.
That's right.
And they replay that memory over and over again, or that memory is an excuse for everything bad that happens.
Reason to,
And you're sabotaging and you're not growing.
Yeah. Because you've succumbed to it. You're letting it have more power over you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That becomes your power.
That's
Instead of
exactly
your
it.
power is
Your choice. You lost choice to it.
When we go through things and we triumph, even if the outcome isn't, great as far as what people think, but you know how you feel.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I know you've been through things, and I've been there with you when you're a better person.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But in the moment, it hurts like hell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But looking back, and we talk about things, and I share things with you, we're both like, I see where I grew.
Yeah.
I see where I grew. And starting over is really about growing.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's almost, we call it a lifestyle, because when you say, I'm going to live this lifestyle, I can start over at any moment, anytime, anywhere, with anyone, with anything. So you have that freedom and that flexibility when you know that you've got the power to choose how you're going to respond to whatever life throws at you. Whether it may not feel like you have a choice in the moment, but when things, again, when the dust settles, you do have the power to choose that you're going to start over, and you're going to determine how you're going to end up with it. I had someone say to me, it was one of my mentors, he said, look, because I questioned him, I said, you're telling me I got control over my attitude, or I have choice, whatever, because this was, I don't know, I was in my 20s. And he said to me, here, take this scenario. You could be crashing in an airplane, and you're going down. You can't, change it. You can't stop it. But you can have a different attitude as you fall. So he's right. He was right.
Attitude determines the outcome every time.
Yes.
Every time, y'all. Every time that we, if somebody, even if something simple like you're driving down the highway and somebody cuts you off, if you continue in that, like, I can't believe you did that, and this, you're going to find yourself in more situations where traffic wise or whatever, you're bringing in, that discord. And so it's really a matter of choosing how you want to feel way before anything happens.
Yeah.
And so, there are tools that help us know how do we want to react. What is the most important thing for us to keep our alignment, no matter what the condition is? Because if we live our life in a conditional way that we have to feel a certain way, if things are going right, then when things don't go right, we don't know how to react.
Yes, 100% true. Yeah. I like to read the ancient Stoics, and I think that truth is truth forever, whether it's 2,000 years ago or present time. And I always remember Marcus Aurelius would say, you don't have to be upset by something. If you think you're upset by it, then you are. If you don't think you're upset by it, then you're not. It doesn't have to hurt you. also things happen, and it isn't, oh my gosh, that happened, it's so bad. It's actually, it happened and I'm unharmed by it. That's the wisdom of it. So I do think it's, again, perspective. I think perspective is everything. And in my book, I wrote, it's called Reframing Your Life, A Guide to Becoming Invincible. Because when you can see something and reframe it, that it happened for me, it didn't happen to me, or I'm unharmed by it, it's like when you really process what's happened, you don't personalize it. When you can realize that there's some wisdom in it, then it does empower you. It does change you in a good way.
I think also empowering is enjoying whatever you can along the way. And what I mean by that is, for instance, with my cancer, I loved my doctor visits. I loved the nurses that took care of me during my radiation and chemo. And so that became something that I look forward to seeing them.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting till the end,
Yeah.
it was all done. And then I look back and went, oh, but it wasn't that bad. I decided
Beforehand.
to make it enjoyable while I was there. So, getting a diagnosis like that, I had to kind of make a mental grease board of how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
Do you want to feel a victim of this? Do you want to give in to the statistics that say this type of cancer kills this amount of people? Do you want to question God? Why did this happen when I'm a healthy person? You know what I'm saying? What is that? You always say this. I love this. How is that benefiting me? Or how is that about you personally?
Yeah.
To be honest, my cancer really wasn't about me personally, right?
No.
And so I made the decision to say to my cancer, hey, I don't hate you because you're part of me, but I'm leaving the door open for you to leave.
Anytime.
Yeah. and that gave me that made me feel powerful.
Gave you powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that's what I think is critical, is that we always have a power. We are always in some sort of choice. And when you know that, heads up, when life happens, if you live like that already, then how you handle today is how you're going to handle some hard experience too. So
absolutely. We appreciate y'all being here. Camille and I have a business. If you would like some one-on-one counseling, whether it's through teaching you tools to manifest and how to have that aligned life, we do that online. We do it in person. We have bundles. We have workbooks, and we do corporate speaking.
that's right.
So
Yeah. And we have our podcast.
yes.
So wherever you find your podcast, find us at Starting Over with Gretchen and Camille.
And then the website is startingoverseries.com. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.